It has been said that success is not just what you accomplish on the field, but the integrity you show off of it. Let's talk about character that counts on today's episode of the Playing with a Purpose podcast. All right, welcome to the Playing with a Purpose podcast, where we explore topics related to the moral development of collegiate athletes and young people as it relates to character, responsibility, and purpose. I'm your host, Matt Barker, and today I'm excited to have head softball coach from Grandview University, Mr. Lou Yacinich, with me on today's program. Lou, welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you very much. And hey, you got my name right. How did you figure out how that worked?
So I do PA for soccer. I still help out in the athletic department. I used to work there, and I still do PA for soccer and basketball. We have a lot of players from different countries, different ways to pronounce their names. So I've learned to go to Google Translate sometimes helps, and just kind of put in the word and it kind of tells you how it's supposed to sound. So I did do a little research to make sure I said it correctly. So did I do okay?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm impressed. That is great. And all this stuff out there on the web or on Google or whatever you can find. Yes.
Yeah, I always use that. And we have a lot of international players for soccer, and I always go through phonetically and and I try to make sure I'm saying those right. I got to at least get our own team names right. So Lou is from Grandview University. He's the head softball coach at Grandview, and he's been there, I think when I looked up, 23, this is your 23rd season there. Is that right?
I had to look it up as well, Matt, and I think I'm starting 24, but I'm not quite sure.
Okay, so sometimes on softball, since it's a spring sport, the bios aren't always updated at the beginning of the season until we get closer to the spring. So, but one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today, and I'll let you kind of explain a little bit about your background here in a second, but the Grandview University women's softball team just recently was named the Bruce Brown CCA Team of Character Award, and this is an award that's given annually. Of course, Bruce Brown has been a guest on our podcast before, a big proponent of character in athletics, and this is a huge honor, and wanted to have Lou come on and just talk about some of that experience with this award, but also kind of some things he does with his team to not only emphasize, wins and losses and things like that, but also just the character aspects. This is a big accomplishment. A lot of work goes into that, both on the field, but also outside the field of play as well. So Lou, give us a little background about yourself, how you got into coaching, and maybe some, I know you're an alumnus of Grandview as well. Give us a little background about yourself.
I attended Grandview. My father was a longtime baseball coach here, 48 years, played for him. Really wasn't a choice of where I was going to school. It was going to be right here because that's where we all grew up. I was around Grandview. Didn't get into coaching right away. I got into the real world. And then through having daughters, and then along with that, after finishing my baseball career here at Grandview, got into men's fast pitch, softball. So those things really took about 15 years of me working in the real world to actually me begin coaching the game of softball. And it was high school, 12 and under, 14 and under with my children, and head high school coach. And this job opened up here at Grandview, and I was fortunate enough to get it. And my first spring was 2003. Yeah. Been here ever since.
Yeah. And it sounds like you've had a good career there. And I was looking up some information on you just to kind of see a little bit about some of the teams that you've had throughout those 23, 24 years. And, nearly half of the years that you've been there, you've went to the NAIA national tournament. So, which is an accomplishment in itself. So half the time that you've been there, you've consistently taken your teams to the national tournament, NAIA national tournament. And I was looking, for the listeners that might not know, Grandview is a school in Des Moines, Iowa. It's a private liberal arts four-year university in Des Moines, Iowa. So a lot of our listeners are from around the Tennessee area. So some people might be here in Grandview and I'm not sure exactly where that is. A lot of women's basketball would probably be familiar with some around that area from the women's basketball national tournament in Iowa. But other listeners might not know exactly where that was. So that'll give you a little bit of geography on where Grandview is located and some of the information there. So let's talk a little bit about the award that you all just received, the Team of Character Award. What's that mean to your program? How did that make your team feel? Not only the accomplishments that you've had throughout the season, but also the character side as well.
Well, it's a testament to our players. It's a testament to their belief in how to handle themselves. It's a testament to how they were raised. It's a testament to so many different aspects. And I just try to enhance that. My main charge within our softball program is to help our young people set a foundation to become productive citizens once they leave school. That is what we do. That is the main objective. And it starts with in the recruiting process. There are handouts I make sure all of our recruits receive. Kind of the arms around our program are eliminate drama and play tough with freedom. Those are the two things that we really strive to accomplish. They're the ones that got to eliminate drama, because if drama gets to me, then I got to deal with it.
Right.
And I don't like dealing with it.
Then you can't coach.
Yeah, you're exactly right. If problems come to your desk, you're not able to do what you are supposed to do, even though you need to deal with those issues as well. Within those arms around our program, I want our players to develop their team chemistry, their team culture within the broader culture of eliminate drama and play tough with freedom. It takes a while to develop, I think, how you can put it down on paper. So we have actual I will statements and we have we will statements. And all of our recruits get that information. Our players then get that information again during our first fall meeting when we get together. And I really attribute, again, a lot to within our program, we have what's called a leadership group. And that leadership group is not voted on by players. It's not picked by me. Our guidelines and regulations for our leadership group are you need to be in at least your second year here at Grandview, and you need to be in your fourth year of school. So I think that attributes a lot of our success in helping produce productive citizens in the fact that you come in as a freshman, you know, if you're here for 4 years, you're going to be part of that leadership group. So as a freshman, I'm thinking, okay, this is how this program works. I'm figuring it all out. I got to now think to the future. What is my legacy going to look like in 4 years? How should I be developing that now with my current teammates so that when I become part of that leadership group and I grow into that leadership group, how is that going to be perceived by me, by my family, by my teammates? And I've found that so far, I think that's been what's really helped us evolve. And we haven't always been that way with team captains or voting on team captains or appointing team captains. You will become part of the leadership group as you invest in the program. And I think I didn't really figure all those points out about having a leadership group that way, but that's kind of how it's now evolved over the last few years.
Yeah. And it kind of goes to the question I was going to ask you. You've kind of touched on that a little bit as far as how you define character within your team culture. A lot of that sounds like it comes back to everybody being on the same page with those statements that you talked about, I will statements, we will. Everybody is aware of those things. Like you mentioned early on in the recruiting process, but also as they come into the program, they have these examples that are set before them, whether it's the members of the team that are been with the program longer that know kind of what's going on, and they can kind of instill that in some of these other players as well. Have you found any, maybe with the transfer portal and different things, you mentioned they have to be with the team 2 years, they have to be at least in their fourth year, things like that. Has there been any challenges with players transferring in and out and having some of that consistency? How do you kind of navigate some of that?
Oh, I think it's been really good. We've had multiple aspects of that. Last year, we had 1 year transfer. It was her 5th year of school. She was not part of the leadership group, but yet she's part of the advisory group. What the advisory group is those players that have maybe they're in their 5th season of school, or say you've been in school for 4 years, you're part of the leadership group, and you're able to use your 5th year to continue playing. When we were first into that situation, I thought, okay, what am I going to do with these guys? They don't need to be the leadership group again because they were part of that. Their 4th year, they became the advisory group. So they had a separate additional level within our program. This year, we don't have anybody that fits into that. We're either 4th year or 2nd year in school, and we fit the guidelines that we've set. So I think we have to continually evolve because situations continually change. You can still have the structure that you think is working, and then you evolve from there, just like you do in practice or just like you do in a season or even in a game. You can have what your game plan is, but then how are you going to evolve? Because in most sports, every play, every quarter, every half, every inning, every time you play is a little bit different. So how do you adjust? You got to have some type of plan that has had success.
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of coaches and they mentioned something that you did as well. And that this might be a kind of a common trend or theme across all coaches is one of the things they try to do, both men's and women's sports, is just eliminate any conflict or any drama that we can to make sure we can focus on what we need to focus on. I think that's a good point. How much does the leadership team, with the players that you have in place on the leadership team, help kind of cut some of that drama off when it starts to maybe help your job out, make it a little bit easier?
Our very first fall meeting, I have our leadership group stand up in front of the team and I introduce, here's a leadership group, talk about how you become that. And I then challenge our leadership group in front of the whole team. This is your team. What legacy do you want these other players and our team and our culture to be? You have that responsibility. I give them 2 guidelines. I want you to handle things that come to you. Handle them at your level. And 1 of 2 things can then come to me. If you feel you can't handle it or you don't have the skill set to handle it, let me know and I'll deal with it. Because in our program, things end with me. I understand that.
Right.
The other guideline would be if you have tried to deal with it and you've got no positive movement or how you see that particular situation moving forward. If you're not getting any help, I'm the next level. So telling on your teammates is no, we need to deal with things that aren't right. But I want you dealing with everything that you can so that my job then becomes get the bus here on time, make sure we have uniforms, get the meal money, get hotels, make sure umpires are here, game balls. That's what I do. If a leadership group member comes to you, it's not a negative. They want to help you grow as well. And the more I think situations can be handled at the player level, the leadership level, maybe the assistant coach level, I can deal with the other nuts and bolts of the program.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and that seems like that would be a huge help, not only captains, but also that leadership team as well. Can you think of a specific example? This might be a difficult one because there might be multiple things that come to your mind as far as when a team earns a Team of Character award, there's probably multiple things that you can think of how your team demonstrates that character. Any specific examples that come to mind from this past season that really showed some of these character qualities coming out in your team?
Yes, as you said, there are multiple. I saw our team, the leadership group brought the entire team together for a dinner or, I don't know, a movie outing or whatever it was. Within our leadership group last year, we had, I think there were 7 or 8 within our leadership group. 3 of those young ladies had not played varsity, but they had stayed in school and been part of the program for 4 years. They somehow felt the value was given to them through our program, that they continued to strength and conditioning, practice. In the fall, everybody plays. They invested as much personally as those that were on the field and played every inning. And that was an awesome perspective, I think, for all of our players to see that, okay, even these young ladies who hadn't played varsity, stayed with the program, continued to invest, continued to grow and be good people, now became part of the leadership group, I think was tremendous. And then the leadership group in general, it didn't matter, in my opinion, from viewing from the outside. That separation was not a separation within a leadership group. And that, to me, that's a huge maturity aspect of that group.
Yeah. I've heard from multiple coaches too on just the impact and the power of the bench, and even the ones that aren't playing, just the encouragement, all the different things that go on outside of just being on the field or on the court. There's so much that goes into prepping for games, getting them ready for the game, encouraging them while they're in the game. The morale is a big part of every sport, and just keeping that morale up, keeping the encouragement going. And there's certain players that are better at that than others. And a lot of times it might be the ones that you don't see on the field a lot, but they're just out there constantly encouraging their teammates, keeping their morale high. So it's always good to see that. And that's definitely a display of character and resiliency. And even though they're not playing, they're still trying to contribute in whatever way they can to benefit the team. I think that's great. So part of the award also kind of includes this community involvement and things like that. Anything that your team does in the community that kind of show outside the court of play or field of play, some of the character qualities that you're trying to instill in them? What are some things you do in the community?
Yes, I really try to stay local with that. People talk about, hey, you can change the world let's enhance where we're at. Let's just start with us. So annually do a team project, which is called Adopt a Parking Lot. And what we do is 3 of our players every week, we clean the parking lots on campus. And it's around the residence halls and the wellness center and our field. And we maintain just picking up trash, around campus. They're always amazed at how much trash
It's
there's.
a full-time job, I'm sure.
It is. Yes. So we do that 3 players or 4 players every week. It rotates every week. To me, that's a big thing. And I emphasize continually, hey, look outside of yourself. Can you pick up a piece of trash that you walk by and when you're walking down the sidewalk? It matters. It matters. Nobody may ever notice, but if we leave it trashy, people then do notice.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a very important thing. We also, read at local elementary. We set up and tear down for a local art center, Santa craft sale. I don't know. I guess I really kind of go for behind the scenes, nobody notices type of service where nobody's going to notice, but they will notice if we don't get it done.
Yeah.
To me, that's very important. Doing things for not recognition. So then when we get recognized like this, I don't know, we got to live up to it now.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
The ones you mentioned, like trying, not necessarily just doing it to be seen. It's very much the servant leadership aspect. You serve others, not to be seen by others, but it's to, get the job done, whatever needs to be done, whether it's cleaning up a parking lot. The thing you mentioned about reading to my wife's a kindergarten teacher, and the kids love when athletes from Freed Hardin or wherever school that's near the school that they're reading at, they just love it when athletes come in and read to them. So, those are the types of things that really earns respect from the community when they're willing to go out and do things that maybe other teams aren't doing. So a lot of those core values within the NAIA are represented from that for sure. How important it is for your players to be role models, not just leaders on the field, but also when they go into other areas of life as well. How do you kind of instill how they need to be leaders in other areas of their life as well?
Hugely important as well. Whether people are looking or not, or people are noticing or not, make the right decision. If you have to question whether the decision is right or not, don't make the one where you have the question about whether it's right or not. So that is instilled as well. And it was very easy for me this year when our team got together, our current team, to say, here's what you're signing up for. You're signing up for a 3.8 team GPA that last year's team had. You're signing up for 5th place in the NAIA World Series. That's what you're signing up for. So there's so many things, in my opinion, that go into that. You better be in class unless you got a reason not to be in class. You need to give your professor their due respect because that is their world. Whether you like the class or not, doesn't matter. That is their life. That is their world. So go learn as much as you can from their world and give them the proper respect that they have earned. So that was really easy for me to say to my team, my current team. Mm-hmm. And I also said, we're not going to compare to last year's team. This year starts right now. And we have to work with who we have, what we have. You've all chosen to be at Grandview. Right now, Grandview fits what you are looking for. I'm honored that you're here, and we're going to start working with this group, but know what you've signed up for. And I also think that leads to life. That's a foundational setting for life. That's going to happen when you get into the real world. So start practicing the real world within the framework of college, within the framework of a softball program. How can you have freedom? And when you do have freedom, to do the right thing takes more responsibility. The more freedom you get, the more individual responsibility you have to make the right decision.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you a little bit about these next 2 questions might kind of go together, so you could answer both of these at the same time. But the recognition that you all received from this Team of Character Award, how does that impact your specific team moving forward? You mentioned, now we got a reputation to live up to. We got this award. Now, a lot of the stuff we did was kind of behind the scenes. Now people know about it. So how does this recognition impact your program and maybe the view of Grandview athletics as a whole?
Well, in the small part of the world that I have within even the Grandview athletic program, I don't want to bring problems to my boss. Just like I don't want players to create problems and bring them to my desk. So the more I can not be a thorn in his side or the president of the university's side, and the more we can enhance what we do, whether it's picking up trash out of a parking lot or all the way being recognized for the national NAIA Team of Character, it's just tremendous. And even with this year, now we get to start all over.
Yeah.
Are we going to be recognized? Probably not. And that's okay. But it isn't going to change what we want to do on a minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day basis.
Yeah. So, and there's something I was going to ask you about, and I was meant to ask you about this earlier, but there was something I read in the press release. There was a play that happened and a home run, but the player missed first, got called back, and the resiliency that was shown. Can you tell me a little bit about that story? Tell me a little bit about that story. I kind of wanted to hear your perspective on that as well.
Sure. It was a regular season game. We were the visiting team, 2 outs, top of the 7th. I think we were down 3-1, top of the 7th. We get a couple of runners on. I think they were on first and second, 2 outs, and we are the visiting team. She hits a 3-run homer, rounds the bases, celebrate the game. We think we're going up 4-3. We still would have to play the bottom of the 7th,
right,
and hold them. Before the pitch is made, the team appeals that the batter missed first base, and the umpire agreed, called her out, game over. Yeah. We get beat 3-1. There's a lot of details in this. I don't know how long we.
Yeah, no, I heard the story. I was like, I want to hear your perspective on this.
Yeah. If we back up to the first day of practice in the fall, we absolutely emphasize touching every base. We practice it. If we're running during a practice, if we have a running drill, running bases, we don't let our runners know that, but we have people watching base. And if they don't touch it, that's a chance we get to yell at them. I don't care if it's our fastest runner, our pitchers that don't even hit that are running, you must touch every base.
Yeah.
So, because you know what? Somebody's watching, and even in a game. So let's get it done in practice. Now, do we touch everyone? If we don't, I yell at them. And if we do, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So none of us were watching her round first base. We're watching the ball go to the ballpark.
Celebrating,
the other 2 runners. Oh man, we're playing the number 1 team in the conference. It's a big deal. It's a big deal in our small world. And there's not a lot you can do. My first thought when the umpire said she missed first base, that's the 3rd out. The inning's over. The game's over because that's the end of the game. Top of the 7th, 3rd out. And you revert back to the score, which 3-1, they were winning. We're in disbelief. I turned to her right then. I said, did you touch first base? She goes, Coach, I stepped right on it.
Yeah.
I stepped on it. I know I did. So game's over. I'm not arguing. I'm taking the umpire's view of it. Right. I didn't see it. Didn't watch her every step. Okay. So they leave the field because we played a doubleheader, and that was game 1. And so in today's world, there's video out there.
Yeah.
Even at small colleges, we've got some type of video usually so we can live stream. It may not be the best, but we get it out there. So we got parents in the stands looking up, going to the video.
I know exactly.
My assistant coaches are going to the video. The video clearly shows she stepped not just on the edge of the bag.
Yeah.
Not just toe on the bag. Her whole foot was clearly nearly the center of the base. Okay, at that time, we probably should not have deserved the Champions of Character award.
Yeah.
You would have seen the reaction.
Right. Which everybody probably would have reacted the same way you did. Probably.
I would think so. Yeah. So nothing we can do about it. Game's over. Ball was made. As soon as I saw the video and before game 2 started, I brought our team together and I said, we have to move forward. Probably when we just saw the video. I brought our team together in between games. Okay, she touched the bag. He may have missed a call. We have to move on. We can do nothing about the past. Nothing. We have to move on. So game 2 goes and they got us again. They swept the doubleheader. And before that second game was over, I brought our team together as well in the dugout. Said, after the games, we will shake hands. We will get a little emotional. Yeah. Sorry. We will do the right thing. It was tough staying in that game, that second game. It was really tough for me. It was really tough. I said, we will react later. You're not reacting now. They did an awesome job, shook hands, packed up our stuff, got on the bus, and there was, I'm not going to tell you what was said on the bus.
Yeah, right.
But we were together then. We weren't out in the public.
Yeah.
Now is the time to react. And I said to them then, you've got 5 minutes to say whatever you want. We're on the bus to act however you want. And when that's over, we're moving on. And kind of a galvanizing time through a tough deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Resiliency, though. I mean, and you finished the season strong, all those good things. And it kind of, this next question I was going to ask you, it kind of led into a little bit of that, some lessons you can learn in life. Like you mentioned this before what you're trying to do is not just teach them how to play a game, you're trying to prepare them for life and challenges they might face later on in life, and how you deal with those challenges can be a lot of times some lessons you've learned early on can help you later on, whether you're in a job, whether you're in a future career, things like that. So what lessons do you hope your players carry with them long after they're with you as a coach, as on the softball team? Maybe it's that resiliency like we talked about. What are some other things maybe that come to your mind there?
I think one of the biggest things, even in that situation for us, is we weren't dealing with life and death. There are bigger issues than what we're dealing with. Yes, this is a very important issue for us right now. Yes, it is. Not going to deny that. There are so many other people dealing with life and death issues, more important issues. So I would hope that the issues you deal with, the little ones in your life, you make the right decisions then. So when the big issues come forward, you have a foundation of looking at the perspective, trying to decide going one way or the other when those big life decisions happen, that you've had enough small, they were big at the time, yet throughout your life, there are small issues that you've come out of, and you have the skill set to be able to deal with the larger issues. Yeah.
Kind of goes back to that perseverance, but also having that perspective. The things we deal with now, you'll deal with other things somewhat similar, maybe bigger, but learning how to handle it early on will definitely help you later on in life as well, I think. Really appreciate all the different things we've talked about today. Anything that we maybe didn't get to that you would like to touch on as far as character within athletics, character with your specific team, things that you do, anything that we maybe didn't get to that you'd like to touch on?
Yeah, I think it's great when players in our current program are coaching young people. They get on the other side of playing. They get a whole new perspective, whether they're coaching a 10 and under softball team or a 12 and under softball team, or they're umpires or officials. I think that adds to their perspective, or they're RAs on campus, or they're involved in student activities, council. I think all those perspectives are tremendous. Or that student that is doing the best they can and they get, say they're Bs, they're not an A student. Great. If you're a B student, get Bs.
Yeah.
If you're an A student, get As. Do the best you can every time you can. And you may not feel 100% every day, but we need 100% of what you got that day. So that when you do feel 100%, it's going to be, oh my gosh, okay, this is great. I also, one of the best parts of my day is when I get to be with my team, whether they're in the strength and conditioning room and I'm in there with them. I don't run it, but I want to see how I get to evaluate a lot of things. And if I think that's important in our program, I should be involved. So I'm in there watching and evaluating and, maybe joking with them while our great strength and conditioning people teach them in that room. Also, when you show up for any softball event, whether it's strength and conditioning or it's practice or we're getting on a bus or you're waking up in the morning after being on the road overnight, and I ask you how you're doing, good is the bare minimum you can answer for me. And if you answer good, I'm going to dig a little deeper as to why you're only good. Because I think we as humans get in the habit of, hey, how you doing today? I'm doing good. Are you really? What's keeping you from being great? What's keeping you from being tremendous today? What's keeping you from being, and our players will make up words like super stupendous, or they'll just make up things. But I really want them to evaluate how they're doing. And you can't show up to softball and only be feeling good. It's got to be better than that. Making a conscious decision to how your day is going. And if it's good or less, not acceptable.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate your time today, and congratulations on the Team of Character Award. It's a big accomplishment. Congratulations to you and your team for that. Good luck with the upcoming season in the spring, and I wish you much luck in the upcoming season.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored that you had us. Thank you. I'm only here because of our players.
All right. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Playing with a Purpose podcast. Special thanks again to Lou Yacinich for being my guest this week. Be sure to listen to this episode and future episodes on Spotify or anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also catch the Playing with a Purpose podcast on the Freed Hardeman Athletics Champions of Character website at gofhulions.com/champions of character and on the NAIA Champions of Character website at naia.org/champions of character. Join me for our next episode as I talk with owner of Sound Mind Counseling, Mr. Taylor Bell, on the topic of social media and self-worth. And remember, winning isn't just about the scoreboard, it's about the character we build along the way. We'll see you next time on the Playing with a Purpose podcast.